For some time now, DEI has started rearing its head up into all facets of the entertainment industry, whether it's video games, television, movies. But after the George Floyd riots back in 2020, everything kind of came to a head where all these major studios and all these different industries decided to proclaim it loud and proud that, yes, we are pushing DEI and we're going to have all this representation because we need to make change. But come to find out that's not necessarily the best business decision, because when you're hiring people and doing stories based off of the race as opposed to actually trying to tell good stories or hiring the best people for the job, well, then quality will start to suffer. So now a lot of these companies are starting to kind of dial it back just a little bit. Even if they're not necessarily getting rid of it entirely, they're trying to rebrand their DEI departments in order to make sure that people aren't aware of what they're actually trying to push behind the scenes. But come to find out, though, not everyone has gotten the memo, because at the Emmys last night, John Leguizamo just had to do some speech at the Emmys and also giving some interviews on the red carpet in the lead up to it, where he was making sure that everyone knows, like, no, they're still very much pushing DEI, or at least he's trying to push that. And he wants to make everyone know that he's trying to push that. We got this interview. We'll start off with this. Just listen to some of the stuff he's saying here, because they're definitely trying to push this, whether it's he's saying it or the interviewer is.
Very historic. Now, what is a show that you've been watching that you feel like is representing everything very well and that you're excited
Representation
to see
right there.
Oh my God. The Bear. It's got some Latinx folk in there.
First of all, I love how he says Latinx, because I believe there was a study that went on where it was like only like 3 or 4% of Latino people even use that term. And it's usually younger people, but for the vast majority of them, they won't use it if they've actually even heard of it. And it was like 40% of people who have heard of it find it offensive. So I just thought that was kind of funny. And it's only in like America where people will actually use that, never in any countries that are Spanish speaking, because, you know, it's a gendered language. So it really doesn't make sense for them. But let's continue.
Baby Reindeer's got some LGBTQ plus folk.
I like how he also had that look on his face when he hear all this whining, because it's like
Plus folk and a Latina.
Oh, here, go back.
Some LGBTQ plus folk.
It's like he was trying to like remember, like, wait, did I get every letter? I love it when people actually will try to do this, because it's like they have to think, like, make sure I get every letter, don't leave anything out, but I have to leave out the P because we don't want people to know that we have the P in there for obvious reasons. So it's just kind of funny when they do that sort of thing. My favorite is Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, when he said that, where he actually had to like stumbled over it because he was trying to get every letter. But that tangent aside, let's continue.
And a Latina. Yeah, those are pretty. Griselda.
Such great
Sofia
shows.
Vergara.
All the good ones.
Yeah, I'm trying.
How do you got to be busy to watch all
Oh my
that.
God, you got to not be working.
Exactly. And then
But anyway, there's that. But the reason I wanted to talk about this is because of a speech he gave at the Emmys when he was presenting an award. And one of the things that he said during that was that he proclaims himself to be a DEI hire. And that's something for some reason that he's proud of. This coming from the Mirror. John Leguizamo says he's a DEI hire at Emmys as he slams industry's representation effort. And that's because the industry isn't trying to push it as much as he is. But I think the reason he's trying to push it so hard is because he's trying to get work. So he wants to make sure that all these movies and TVs and shows and other things like that have Latinx representation. Otherwise, he might not have any work lined up. John Leguizamo made a powerful statement at the 2024 Emmy Awards as he called himself a DEI hire as he slammed the industry's portrayal of Latinx actors. I still love that he uses that term Latinx or Latinx, excuse me, if that's offensive or whatever. During the 76th Emmy Awards, the former Romeo and Juliet star went on a passionate speech discussing diversity and inclusion in Hollywood. The stand-up comedian kicked off his speech joking that he was one of Hollywood's DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion hires. He said the D is for diligence, the E is for excellence, the I is for imagination. Everyone in the room tonight has dedicated their lives to diligence, excellence, and imagination. I mean, I think DEI is pretty much the exact opposite of those things, but you know what? I mean, it is what it is. I can tell he's an actor and not necessarily a writer, because he probably would have come up with something better than that. Or if he did hire a writer for that speech, he should fire that person immediately. The film producer went on to touch on a number of issues Latinx actors, they keep using that, have been faced over the years, including a lack of representation on screen and recognition during award ceremonies. In his thorough speech, the former Ice Age star listed a number of times the industry failed to cast Latinx actors to play Latinx characters, from Al Pacino in Scarface to Natalie Wood in West Side Story. I think there's something kind of funny that they mentioned Al Pacino in Scarface, because he's Italian and he was playing a Cuban, so a Latino man. And John Leguizamo, he doesn't seem to have a problem with the fact that he's a Latino guy and he played an Italian in the Mario Brothers movie. Or maybe he did have a problem with that, or he has a problem with it now and didn't have a problem with it then. Or maybe he's just one of those people, which I think this is probably more closer to the case, where he thinks like there should be representation for him, but no one else, where he can take another person's role or another group's role, but they can't take his role. I mean, that's probably what he's really pushing for. Everybody played us except us. I didn't see a lot of people on TV that looked like me, Leguizamo said. He continued, I didn't complain about the limited roles my people were offered, the spicy sex pot, the Latin lover, the maid, the gangbanger. Turns out not complaining doesn't change anything. And yes, I can understand that being kind of an issue if you're looking for work and the only jobs that you can get are basically typecast stereotypes and other things like that. That'd probably be kind of annoying. I don't see how people need to see themselves represented on TV though, because you know, it's movies and TV aren't real. You don't have to be represented on them in order to actually do what you want to do in your own life. But yes, I can see though, that would be kind of annoying, just being typecasted at these sort of things. And if you want to actually open it up and have more roles for various groups and actually have stories that tell those type of role stories, fine. I'm okay with that. But like I was saying before with the Mario Brothers thing, I don't think he's really getting at that. What we're seeing in the last several years is basically people have been like shoehorning in these various groups, or even going so far as to race swap historic characters, or having remakes and race swapping traditional roles that belong to another race. And to me, that's kind of like the wrong way of going about doing things. And it also seems kind of patronizing, because it's almost like to say, we can't come up with a good role for these groups, so we just have to give them a hand-me-down role as sort of a pity thing. And I don't think that's the way to go about doing things. I think original characters are a better way to go about it. And I don't think it should be original characters with the studio saying, hey, you see these original characters? We wrote these roles for these groups specifically because we want to have representation. That's not the way of going about it either. I like it better back when I was growing up in the 90s, where if someone was playing a role, you didn't think about their race. Like if I was watching a movie like with Denzel Washington, Crimson Tide is one that really comes to mind. His race was not a factor in that whatsoever. It was just Denzel Washington playing a role, and he did a fantastic job. Back in those days when he's winning awards, no one ever questioned, like, is he getting nominated for this award because he's a black man, or did he get this role because he was a black man? It's like, no, you never really thought about that. You just thought like Denzel's in this role because he's a fantastic actor and he does a good job in everything that he's in. So that's why he's getting the work. Right now, though, when you have people like John Leguizamo trying to push for diversity quotas and other things like that, then when you see like this, like a black person in a role or a Latino person in a role, you never think like, did they get this role because they're the best for the job? Or is it like a diversity casting or something like that? And to me, that's the saddest part about this, because it almost diminishes the actual work people put into this. Because I know actors have to put in a bunch of work in order to do the job that they're actually doing. And I think it's kind of sad when they might actually put in a lot of work to get a role, but as an audience member, you don't necessarily know that they earn that role, because you know there's those diversity quotas, or studios are just trying to put their thumbs on the scale for certain groups. So you might think like, well, did they really earn it, or did they not really earn it? Yeah, they can get awards like they did at the Emmys and stuff like that, but at the same time, it's like, did they actually write those characters for them, or did they really earn those awards? And to me, that's the sad part about it. I think it would be much better off if people stopped caring about this sort of thing and just hired people based off of merit alone, as opposed to because of the color of their skin. But I don't know. Apparently that's racist these days. But let me know what you think about all this in the comment section below. Do you think casting and movies and TV shows should all just be racially blind, or do you think they should specifically hire different groups of people just to have representation? Comment below, and if you haven't already, make sure you click that subscribe button if you want to stay up to date with the latest entertainment news. And don't forget to click that like button and share this video out there because it really helps out with the channel. Thank you.